thing you guys should know about me is that I love me some Brandy. Like, I loves me some Brandy. I do. God knows I do. But was the hit TV show Moesha, was it problematic? Can we talk about Moesha without talking bad about my bestie in my head, Brandy? Was Moesha problematic? Like, looking back on it now as we grown women and men, was it problematic? Like, was it? Let's talk about it. Everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, subscribe, put the bell button on for more notifications to see what, who, me, moi, this chick right here. I gotta make sure my afro is in the frame. If you haven't done so already and you would like your hair to get like this, long and luxurious, click the link in the description box below and head over to denverworldhaircare.com for the amazing hair growth oil and all of the amazing hair and skin products. There is a sale, 50% off. Their items are starting at $8. $8. You can't get bad. You can't go wrong with $8. You got $8. Or somebody you know got $8 that can lend you $8. Anyway, go ahead and check out the website and go ahead and get your oils today, okay? So I'm gonna need you guys to watch this entire video. Now, as you all know, I think like it was right in the midst of the pandemic and everything. Netflix decided to bring back a lot of amazing Black sitcoms that we missed dearly and that we will watch over and over and over again, even though a lot of these shows have been canceled since 2005, honey, okay? But they brought back shows like Half and Half, Sister Sister, All of Us, was it? All of Us, Girlfriends. What didn't they bring back, okay? I'm gonna need them, well, you know how I feel about reboots and all of that. But a lot of people in the comment section when I had did a recap of Girlfriends and how problematic Girlfriends was, even though we are here for the amazing actors and actresses in Girlfriends, just how problematic some of the characters were. Not the individuals that played the characters. The individuals that play the characters are freaking amazing, but just the characters themselves in the show, how problematic it was. So I'm in the comments and you guys, let's talk about Moesha. Let's talk about Half and Half. I actually have to go back and watch Half and Half. That really wasn't like a show I really liked, but it was a little sprinkle of colorism in there, the episodes that I did see, but we'll save that for another episode, okay? Let's talk about Moesha. Now, I have been a huge fan of Brandy since, oh my God, like I am a huge fan of Brandy. If you haven't done so already, please download her album B7. I'm gonna need y'all to put respect on my sister's name. I'm gonna need y'all to put respect on my bestie's name. I'm gonna just need y'all to do that, okay? Because we can fight, okay? Brandy deserves her flowers, okay? If you don't know anything about Brandy, she is the vocal Bible. But in the 90s, she came out. She was in Moesha, this sitcom. Now, I'm like, was Moesha really problematic? And I'm seeing things on TikTok and Facebook and Twitter, and it's like, okay, guys, calm down. Calm down. Bring it down. Because I'm like, okay, we asked for Netflix to bring back these shows, or Hulu, or whomever, to bring back these shows Black shows that we loved and adored. Now we get it. We want to dissect everything and complain about it. But I guess I'm going to have to be on a bandwagon today and complain today. So let's dissect Moesha. Okay, so a lot of people on Twitter described Moesha as being a horrible friend. Like, she would embarrass Hakeem, and she would embarrass Kim, and she was just an embarrassing, stuck-up friend. That's what a lot of people on Twitter described Moesha as. Now, taking Brandy out of it and just dissecting Moesha, the character, okay? Because this is nothing personal with Brandy at all. I love everything about her, but just the character she played, okay? Got that disclaimer out the way, okay? I feel like Brandy was the average teenager. Now, I'm going to take my bias. I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I felt like she was the average teenager. I did not approve of her fat shaming Kim. Now, to me, Kim was so underrated, right? Kim, Countess Vaughn, who plays Kim, was a comedic genius. Like, her comedic timing was phenomenal, insane. I felt it was like no wonder they gave her a whole sitcom, The Parkers. She was freaking awesome, and she was an all-around amazing superstar. From acting, from singing, she could sing her behind off in real life, okay? And I just felt like her comedic timing was so on point, and I felt like she was so underrated. I did not approve of Moesha fat shaming her, but you gotta understand, y'all. Back then, we was saying your mama jokes and fat shaming and talking about poor people and talking about people. Was it right? No, but back then we wasn't aware of how negative it was. We wasn't always aware of fat shaming. We weren't using the term fat shaming. Let's keep it real. Until recently, in the 90s, it was what it was. Was it right? No, but you gotta understand that's what it was back then. You wouldn't be caught dead doing stuff like that now, okay? Or people will drag your behind to filth on social media. But back then, that's just what it was. It was not right, but you have to understand she was a teenager that had lost her mother. In the height of trying to figure yourself out, the height of trying to come into womanhood, the height of dating for the first time, watching your dad date for the first time, getting a new car, like reaching these milestones as a preteen and as a teenager, and you don't have your mom there with you. I would be annoyed at everybody too. But I had sympathy for her back then. Like, wow. Like, she is going through all these precious milestones without her mother, who she was obviously more close with than her father. Let's talk about the daddy. Let's talk about the daddy. Because I feel like he was more of an issue for me than Moesha was, because at the end of the day, Moesha was a child. Yeah, now that we old with our woke caps on, which I don't mind wearing my woke cap, I wear it proudly, but now being older, it's like, okay, I guess I could kind of give Moesha a pass because she was young. She was a teenager. Now that Frank, with that busted lace front, okay, that salad bowl haircut he used to walk around every season with. Like, her daddy was trash. Her daddy was like Oscar the Grouch trash. Her daddy was trash. Just how controlling he was. The fact that all these women out here, you choose to date the principal. How embarrassing is that for your kid? Now she got to come home to her own principal, tooting that thing and backing that booty up in her house, in the bed where her mother used to sleep. The father was absolutely doo-doo, basura, trash. In my opinion, he was misogynistic. He was a misogynist. He was sexist. He was just classist. He was just disgusting. And you was selling Saturns, not even BMWs, not even Mercedes-Benz. This nigga was selling Saturns. And for some reason, I hated the fact that the way that he treated Hakeem. He could have been more of a role model and more sympathetic with Hakeem. I feel like if you had a problem with Moesha, you could not have a problem with Moesha without having taken issue with him, in which she probably got some of that nastiness from, if you choose to think that she's nasty. Because the way he just used to judge Q, it's like he couldn't wrap his mind around the fact that there are people around you that are less fortunate. There are people around you who grew up in the hood, that just grew up in different circumstances. Everybody ain't got their damn daddy that sells Saturns or Jupiters. Everybody ain't got their parents. Everybody doesn't, as everybody ain't able to keep a house over their head, to keep their electricity on. Like, he was just all around just fucking disgusting. Just for us to later on in later seasons find out that his nephew was really his son. Not having a nephew son. Okay, and his sister was or was it the sister? Somebody was taking care of his son. He had a son behind Moesha's mama's back. Now you spend all those seasons being super judgmental and treating her friends some type of way that you deemed are thugs. Ooh, the Karen just jumped out at him. Just for us to turn around and realize how trash you were, the fact that you cheated on Moesha mama. Moesha mama rolling in her grave, child. One episode of Moesha where I was like, girl, is you smoking Pop Rocks? The whole thing with the car. Her father wanted to get her a Saturn. She didn't. She wanted to work for her car and get her own car. She was being a little bratty. She was being bratty, and she was being hella... She was being a brat. She was being a brat. I had to admit that. But in the big scheme of things, if you really break down who Frank was, and the fact that he would have probably hung that car over her head and dictated this and dictated that, and really, really, really been able to control her, probably put a device on the car, tracking the car and everything, Lord, I don't blame her, but she was being a little bratty. She was being a brat. I gotta admit that she was. That irritated me, that made my skin crawl, that made my booty itch, my ass itch, was the fact how controlling Frank was over Moesha and how much he wanted to control her body. How many times this man has overstepped his boundaries, like as a father to a daughter. She's still a human being at the end of the day. She's coming into her womanhood. There was no understanding. There was no sympathy or empathy for the challenges that a young woman might go through, especially without having her mother. Like, he was just so controlling, from reading her diary to constantly putting her on punishment because she was with a boy. And it's like, you wonder why she snuck around. Now, there was a lot of points when Moesha needed her ass whooped. She was very mouthy. But you wondered why she was sneaking around behind your back. You wonder why you wasn't the first person she came to. You can't, like, be so smothering and so controlling with kids and so overbearing. And it's like, I'm going to control Moesha. I'm going to make sure she doesn't become a teenage pregnant young girl with all this privilege that I got up in here. I'm going to make sure that she doesn't become a teenage pregnant mom, or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to put her on lockdown, clank, clank, and I'm going to stop her from seeing boys. As if whole time you had a full-blown kid outside of your relationship. And that's what I hate about some parents too. That's another video for another day. It's like, I'm going to control my kids, and I'm going to be on my kids, and I'm going to do anything in my power to lock my kids down, especially girls, as if they're prisoners, because I don't want them to do the same thing I did, because I don't want to own up to how trash I was. So I'm going to stop them from repeating the same mistakes I'm repeating, or I repeated. Trash. Trash. I don't know. He was just trash. But outside of that, I just never understood Dee. I felt like she came in there guns blazing, just wanted to instantly replace her mother, instead of just coming in there swiftly and professionally, coming in there nicely, like a nice healthy transition. But I kind of blame that on Frank for just doing that. Like, your kids are minors, your kids are young kids, preteen, and a little kid. Like, you just got this random woman. Of course they're not going to understand it. Of course it's going to be super difficult, and that was very difficult for Moesha Miles. It worked out for him because he was a lot younger, but for her, she was older. And I felt like they could have did that transition into marriage a little bit better and healthier for the children's sake. But Frank is trash, so what did we expect but trash behavior? I really admired Andell. Like, I really, really admired how cultured she was. First of all, I already told you in the Girlfriends review and all of that. I already explained to you guys just how back then a lot of sitcoms were very cultural, and you know, discussing HBCUs and just discussing Black culture. I felt like Andell kept that African heritage going. I felt like the Den was really like a safe haven for inner city youth. It kept them out of trouble. It kept them active. She was like the mothers of all mothers. She held it together. It was a safe haven for the kids, for the community. Her role was so overlooked. I felt like she really made the show to a certain extent. You understand what I'm saying? I love the Den. I remember them rapping. They had open mics and all of that. It was just so much stuff for the kids to do. So much stuff. They don't have that nowadays. That's why these kids is always in trouble getting their ass whipped, because they don't have that nowadays. But I really, really appreciated her character most of all. There were a couple of my friends, there were a couple of people that was just like, oh, Moesha sucks. I couldn't relate to Moesha just because she was so privileged and she grew up in a house. I didn't grow up in a house. Come on, guys. Really? Let's stop acting like there weren't Black people that actually had money, that actually had both parents, that didn't grow up that actually grew up in a house, and vice versa. Come on now. We come all in all different shapes and sizes, and come on now. I could relate to her. I did not always grow up in a house, okay? I had a whole lot of dysfunction going on at my crib. But for some reason, I could relate to her. I could relate to certain obstacles of dating, learning how to drive, all of that stuff. But some of y'all just took this whole Moesha being on Netflix to a whole different level and just started being nasty about it. It's a TV show. It's a TV show back then we loved, we enjoyed, we supported, or they would not have had over 100 and something episodes. Let's just keep it real. Y'all got to stop taking everything so seriously. But trash is as trash does. Anyway, that was just my rundown of Moesha. Could Moesha have been a better friend? Yeah, she could have. Listen, if Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and a Big Box and IG and MyG and all of this stuff was around when I was a teenager, you know, I ain't too far from being a teenager now. But I'm just saying, back then, when I was a teenager, I would have got canceled before even starting. I'm just saying, I have said and done some trash stuff I had no business saying or doing. We were all hella trash back then. Hella trash in our preteens, depending on how old you are. Some of y'all trash now, grown and all. Come on, come on. It was something we enjoyed back then. A lot of those shows wouldn't dare come out now because they definitely would get canceled before even being aired. But that was just my rundown for the day. I'm going to try to do half and half. I'll see how. Like, half and half really wasn't my favorite, but I might give it to y'all anyway because you guys inspire me. Thank you so much for supporting me. If you are watching this, you have just made it to 2021, and let's just pray that 2021 is nothing like 2020 or we are really in trouble. Anyway, if you haven't done so already, please like, share, subscribe, hit that link in the description box, and head over to differentworldhaircare.com to receive amazing hair care products. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.